when we on this show just like to win. Well, joining us right now, he's not unconventional, but he does a tremendous job covering the Eagles for ESPN.com and 97.5 The Fanatic. Mr. Tim McManus on the Comcast Business Hotline. How you doing today, Tim?
What's up, Ty? How are you?
Doing pretty well. People have been talking about this, but a lot of narratives going around, Tim, but you've been covering this sport for a long time. Saquon Barkley, I have to start there. Have you ever seen in person, I know you've heard about it, a guy be this dominant and be this fresh, it seems, this late into a season?
No, I mean, I don't know that the league has seen anything quite like this. I mean, he's having one of the best running back seasons of all time, Ty. I mean, it's very safe to say that. I mean, if you just look at, if he would have played in the last game against the Giants, he'd be the rushing champion. I mean, he would be. It's a kind of a certainty. And he has a very realistic shot as early as this week to have the most rushing yards ever when you're including playoffs going past Terrell Davis. It doesn't matter if you stack the box. It doesn't matter seemingly if the whole world knows that he's going to get the football as they did last week against the Rams. He can still bust off 78 yards on you and go to the house. So it's absolutely incredible. Of course, there's other factors that go into it, like an offensive line that has been just absolutely outstanding. Jeff Stoutland and the job that he does as a run game coordinator, the gravitational pull of Jaylen Herz, the load of weapons around him, all of these things are kind of coming together to help make this product. But, the number one factor is Saquon Barkley, who's about as good of a running back as I've seen with my own eyes.
And, you look to the defensive side of the ball, I think the one thing that has really come out, and I mean, it's all about Jalen Carter, and I believe Nolan Smith is also that guy. The pressures they get on the quarterback wreak havoc.
No question about it. And just think about what kind of different conversations we might be having today if Jalen Carter doesn't break loose on that 3rd and 2. Like, that would have been the all-timer. I mean, talk about a gut punch loss. Like, we just laid out what Barkley did and the way that the crowd was going absolutely crazy in the snow. All of those good vibes just would have gotten dashed if Carter doesn't get home and Matthew Stafford's able to complete the pass over the middle for a touchdown. But he's been able to make these individual all-pro-like efforts throughout the course of the season. And, last year was a lot of up and down where, was the conditioning where it should have been and why is he showing up here and not there? And then, this year, even though Vic Fangio has loaded his plate with snaps, there's only been one defensive lineman who has played more snaps than Jalen Carter this year. And still he looks super fresh, just like Barkley does. So, he's really ascended. This was a defense that really needed him to turn into the type of player that everybody saw the potential of him becoming. And he's done it, and it saved them on Sunday. And it's a big reason why they're on the doorstep of the Super Bowl.
Tim, I have to ask you about Jaylen Herz because he's been a national talk so much. And the first thing I want to know is how different do we look at his game if A.J. Brown catches that pass that comes down to the 2? Sometimes it wouldn't change how he played, but it would obviously have changed a result. Do you think that if he got a little help on Sunday, not suggesting he was great, that we might look at his game a little bit differently?
Yeah, I think so. I think it would have looked differently. But that's just kind of that was the nature of that game. I mean, you saw Puka Nacua, that was the catches that he normally makes. It was just tough conditions. It was sleeting. It was tough. But, yeah, I mean, sure, that all factors in. But I think we can all, I know that people are running to their particular sides when it comes to Jalen Hurts. And, some people are calling him like, the guy who's holding them back. And then there's, I think, people taking stances to the other extreme, too. Like, why don't we just be honest about what we're seeing with our eyes? Like, Jalen Hurts is not having a great year passing the football. He's not. And that's okay. Like, he's had good moments. Like, if you think of the Pittsburgh game, he's clutch. There are definitely times, like, when the team needs him to. Like, he'll rise up and he'll deliver. Like, he's got that in him. There's no question about it. He's been really big to the whole operation. I think he's been great at getting into checks and running the offense fluidly. So all that stuff is true, but has the passing game been great? No. The passing game has fallen short of expectations. That's just the way it is. But, here they are in the NFC Championship games. So, the question I think will continue to linger out there, Ty, of like, is it going to bite them at some point? Like, are they capable of having that moment where they need it, where, here they are going up against, this week it's going to be Jayden Daniels. Maybe it's a shootout. Maybe it's Buffalo in the Super Bowl, and it's going to be a shootout. Like, maybe that time comes. There is an argument to say maybe it never does. Maybe it's just Saquon Barkley goes crazy, and that's all they need, and the defense is lights out, and they hold up the Lombardi anyway. But where I stand with Herz is that he's doing a lot of things really well. I think the passing game has fallen short, and that falls to Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts and some of the supporting cast. But, honestly, like, that's kind of where it is. And they're going to they're going to have another situation here in the championship game where, all right, is that time going to come, and then what do they do with it?
They blitzed Jayden Daniels last time on almost 36% of his dropbacks. Do you expect the same in this game, or do you expect them to play a little bit more off the ball?
Yeah, so I think that Vic Fangio is really good at trying to keep quarterbacks off balance. So he mixes in all sorts of different looks just so they never really get into a comfort zone. And clearly, Daniels is not a guy that you want to get heated up. So yeah, I think they're gonna have a bit of a mix here, Ricky. One thing that I think we can look toward is that Daniels, as a rookie quarterback, only has 9 giveaways all season long. That's pretty incredible. He's got none in the postseason, 9 over the course of the entire year. But a third of those, 3 of them, the Eagles took away. And so, they've been able to generate, it was 2 interceptions the last time they faced them, an interception in the first game. And the way that Zach Bond put it after the Rams game, he's like, that's kind of our specialty, like taking the ball away. And I think that's going to be a really big key for a quarterback who has been so poised and so good. The Eagles have been able to generate some takeaways off him, and I think that's going to be the biggest key in this one.
Speaking with Tim McManus, he does a tremendous job covering the Eagles for ESPN.com and 97.5 Fanatic. Have to ask you about the injuries. I'm here. There's a lot of rumors coming out of the building. I know people like to talk. Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Hurts, what do you think their status is going to be for Sunday?
Yes, I think both are going to play. Both were out onto the practice field. It was only a walkthrough, but they were both out there. An interesting stat that my guys at ESPN hooked me up with here, Ty, was before Hertz got injured in that game against the Rams, he had 6 carries for 71 yards. And then that was in the third quarter. After the fact, he only had 1 carry, and it was technically a carry, quote unquote. It was a kneel down for -1 yards. I mean, so we saw the difference. We know the impact that his legs have, and he wasn't able to really utilize them after he got injured. Speaking with people in and around the situation, there still seems to be some uncertainty about how mobile he's going to be able to be. Not to say he's not going to be. It's still like, a question mark in some people's minds. Is like, is he going to be the full Jalen Hurts that we're accustomed to? Is he going to be limited? Some people are concerned maybe he will be limited. So that's something that we're going to have to monitor throughout the course of the week. It's the biggest thing, on my mind. I think a lot of people's mind is it going to be the Hurts that we've come accustomed to, who is a magnet for defenses, going to open things up for Barkley, or is he going to have a tough time both scrambling and, of course, that left leg is also the plant leg in throwing. So it's a big question. I don't think there's any doubt that he's going to play. Everybody expects him to play. It's just a matter of how effective he will be, how mobile he will be once the game comes.
And then Quinyon, I was hearing that there was just that shoulder had kind of locked up on him. And in a hypothetical situation, if he had more time, he actually would have been able to play on Sunday. Any truth to that?
Yeah, so, I mean, he said afterwards that he's going to be playing in this one. And so it's just kind of that time of year where
right.
if you saw Mitchell walking off the field, he was very clearly favoring that shoulder. Like it's not going to get good in the course of a week, but this is like he's been an excellent rookie and he's been awesome for them, and I think he's going to suit up. And it's just, I'm not sure that shoulder is going to be anywhere close to 100%, but it's the NFC Championship game.
There you go. Well, Tim, we really appreciate the time. As usual, all the great work that everybody should read everything that you write also at ESPN.com. Appreciate you, man, and we'll talk to you next week, hopefully about the Super Bowl.
There you go. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.
Thanks so much. That was Tim McManus on the Comcast Business Hotline. Interesting. Note that what Tim said was he won't be mobile. What he said is there's still questions about how mobile.
Right.
That's the difference. A maybe is better than a no.
Maybe's always any time, especially. I mean, you're talking about a guy who uses his mobility.
Uh-huh.
You want him to be a little mobile, and Tim worded it well.
Right, maybe. So they didn't say he won't be mobile. They're saying there's still questions about how mobile, which is better than it looked when he first went down.
Yes.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching our YouTube. If you want to help us out, go ahead and like and subscribe for us. If you liked what you saw, go right over here to our playlists and pick out whatever you want to watch.